When winter comes to Montana, snowstorms and cold bear down for months. But for some, winter is a season like any other. You just have to be ready to face it. Rick and Casey are big game hunters. Tracking wild animals has become second nature.
Good boy, Cash.
Scott Clark is a trapper and a fisherman. He followed the footsteps of his father, Jerry, and he knows the Madison Valley like no one else. Scott and Susie have learned to face the most difficult conditions. They're the only ones to live all winter in the brutal Big Hole Valley. The Whites and the Hollenbecks have their ranches to run and animals to feed. Many animals to feed. Jenny is a sled dog breeder and an outstanding competitor. Her team is one of the best in the state. Welcome to Montana, the land of the Western pioneers.
Nothing like a fresh morning in the mountains.
There's another one right there.
Got a good one. Swim right here. Boom, got him.
Good boy, Cat.
Woo! Woo!
Among Montana's wild animals, elk are some of the most iconic. Their population is estimated at 170,000 throughout the state. During the winter, herds move in search of food. And when they trespass on private land, that's a problem for ranchers. In the small town of Absarokee, at the foot of the Beartooth Mountains, winter has just begun. The official hunting season is over, but not for Rick Madzik, getting ready to go to the mountains. Rick is a child of the country. His family has been living in Montana for 5 generations, a professional hunter for 25 years. Now working as a machine operator, he's still called on to offer his hunting expertise.
Today, I'm going to be going up to Two Dot to a friend of mine. He has a big ranch up there. The elk population is exceeding what the range will hold. So the Fish, Wildlife, and Parks has implemented a shoulder season, which falls in after the regular hunting season, to reduce the numbers of the elk. And it's also to get the elk to move off ranch property and go back on the national forest property.
Hunting elk in the winter is extremely difficult. It often takes several days of tracking in the mountains to find a herd.
They're in a survival mode. The biggest concern they have is filling their bellies. But there's got so many things against them. There's mountain lions, wolves, coyotes, hunters. They're very good at evading predators, whether it be 4-legged variety or 2-legged variety. Daytime, they'll spend a lot of time in the timber. Late afternoons, evenings, night, they come down on the flats or the hay fields and feed. When the weather's warm, they'll stay high in the mountains. But when it gets deep snow and cold weather, the elk move. And they go to the place of least resistance where they can get the most to eat. There's so many variables. All of these things dictate what the elk do. So nobody knows what the circumstances are going to be that you're having to deal with. Being able to get in a position to be close enough to the elk to get a decent shot is challenging.
Beside the harsh winter conditions, the hunter must adapt his approach strategy because elk have a keen sense of smell.
If you're upwind of elk, they'll smell you before you ever see them or before they ever see you. And when they get that scent, then they leave. Trying to sneak up on elk in the timber is a very difficult thing because if there's 40 head of elk, there's 80 eyes watching 80 different directions.
For this unusual hunt, Rick chooses not to use his one-shot rifle, the Shiloh Sharp. He opts for a Remington .260 caliber long-range rifle.
It's lightweight. It's got a very flat trajectory. It's very accurate out to 500 yards. You can shoot a group the size of a dime out to 300 yards. I just really like this gun. It's just a really good all-around gun. With the scope sight, the rifle, a good solid rest, it should be one shot, one kill. It's going to be kind of a win-win situation because the Fish, Wildlife, and Parks has a program implemented called Hunters Feeding the Hungry. In Montana, there's a lot of people, some are less fortunate than others, and to be able to donate the meat from this elk that we're going to take, it'll put food on the table for people less fortunate in Montana. It's what used to make Montana click. It was neighbors helping neighbors, people helping people. Those that had helped those that didn't have. I'm looking forward to the whole thing, and it's kind of putting back into the community. It's the fruits of the privileges that I have, and I'm thankful that I can do that.
Meanwhile, in the small town of Ennis, in the heart of the Madison Valley, the trapping season has just ended.
Let's fix this trap.
Jerry Clark and his son Scott repair the season's traps.
That'll give her a little leverage.
Jerry is one of the most famous trappers in the region. But Scott's catching up. He's building a reputation as one of the best in the Madison Valley.
I grew up trapping. My grandpa trapped. He taught my dad how to trap. My dad taught me how to trap, so it's kind of a generation thing. They taught me everything they know. It's been in my family for years and years. As far as I can remember, I've been trapping my whole life.
From the time he was this tall, I carried him on my back running traps. And he would go with me when he was 7, 8 years old. He could keep up. And he was so curious. He wanted to know everything I was doing and why I was doing it. Caught his first bobcat when he was 8.
Wow. Pretty tight, huh?
Traps require regular maintenance. They spend days subjected to cold and snow.
Every species has its own trap, from pine martens you're using a 110 conibear to a bobcat where you're using a foothold trap. Like a beaver trap, you can use a foothold trap or a conibear trap.
Now we got it.
Traps are expensive, so we try to take very good care of our traps.
This is a 2-man operation here.
Wow. Yeah, a lot of work for one mountain lion. Let's put a bead on these and see if we can keep them mountain lions from pulling these jaws out anymore.
I think we're eventually gonna have to do this to all our traps.
We caught a mountain lion this fall, and they're so powerful and so strong that they pulled the jaws out of our traps. And we've put the jaws back in the traps, and we went ahead and welded the ends of the jaws, so next time the mountain lion gets hooked in the trap, he cannot pull the jaw out through the hole and he doesn't get away.
It's like our water's getting hot here.
At the end of each season, Scott and Jerry use a family recipe to clean the traps and preserve them.
More dye in there.
Every year, we dye our traps.
Ooh, stinky.
This dye, it comes from a logwood tree. It's logwood bark, and they grind it up, and it's powder, and you put it in boiling water, and then you dip the traps in there.
Let's put these babies in here and get them going, huh?
The dye of the traps keeps the traps from rusting. It makes the traps a certain color. We usually use black or dark brown to blend in with the ground.
All right, let's pull them out.
All right. I think they're done.
If your trap's not well maintained and it's getting old and the spring's weak, the animal's gonna pull right out and get away. After we pull the traps out of the dye, we let them dry for a little bit, and then we take another bucket that's full of paraffin wax. Get that heated up. You have to be very careful heating up this paraffin wax. It's very flammable.
We want to get her pretty hot, but we don't want to fire either.
What the wax does is it makes them faster, protects them, and they won't freeze down. Wax won't freeze to the ground. So it just makes your traps last a lot longer. It makes them faster.
Let's pick it up and try and see what we got dripping off. Yeah, I think we're good.
Like it?
I think we're good. Perfect. Looks good to me.
Another one?
Yeah, we're good.
After all these years together, the two trappers have now become true accomplices.
Especially with your hand right over the top of it. Scott's taught me a lot because he's out there a lot, and he sees a lot, and he learns a lot. I think that's good. Yeah, that's good. He finds places that I use, I find places that he uses. It's a partnership. Good. Tell everybody to keep their hands off of these traps. They're all clean, ready to go.
The traps are ready for the next season. Now, the two trappers will try to get the best price for this year's catch.
Here we go.
Near the small town of Absarokee, Casey Kircher, one of the best mountain lion trackers in the area, recently bought a new dog, Callie.
Callie, stop picking on him. Come on.
He hopes to breed her with his dog, Cash, a first-rate animal tracker.
Cash is an excellent lion and coon dog. He just knows what to do and he does it. Callie is a little smaller, but she's very athletic, very quick, and she can maneuver in and out and around logs kind of better than Cash can.
Good girl.
We take Cash's best traits and we get Callie's best traits, and we just end up with a really badass bunch of dogs.
Callie has already done several training sessions with Cash, but this morning, Casey is going to bring her alone to an area she doesn't know to evaluate her progress.
She needs more experience. I like to spend as much time out in the field with my dogs as I can so they can get more experience and hopefully pass it down their bloodlines.
Casey uses a technique he devised to train his dogs.
Now, a little ingredient.
He sprinkles a raccoon fur with mountain lion's urine.
It trains her to use her nose more than her eyes. That's typically what they should be doing.
I can go for a little walk here. Now, the reason why I've got the stick far out there is so Callie trails the coon scent instead of my scent, which is a couple feet away. Theoretically, it works, but we'll find out. Okay. So what I'm gonna do is put her on her leash. Have her sniff around a little bit. See, she likes that. That's good. Good girl. Good girl. Good girl. Good girl.
Callie immediately detects the scent and heads straight to the hanging raccoon pelt. But when she gets to the tree, she loses her focus.
Callie. Callie. Hey. What's this? What's this, Callie? Hey, here he is. Here he is. Here he is. Whoosh. Whoosh. What is that? What is that? Good girl. What is that? Get it. Get it. Hey, come here. Come here. Callie. Callie, come here. Yeah, she's smelling other things now. Callie, come here. Come here. Hey. Get out of that. Well, that didn't go exactly how I wanted it to. She did good trailing the scent, but again, once she got to the tree, she just kind of got sidetracked and wanted to eat on something dead over there. So, good girl, get it, get it. We'll just have to keep trying, and these young dogs, it's gonna take a little bit more time. Cash was kind of the same way when he was a pup. I just spent a lot of time out in the woods training him, chasing a lot of coons around these river bottoms and stuff. And so it's just lots of field time, and they become really good dogs. Good girl, good girl.
Callie's not ready to track an animal solo, but Casey's encouraged by her progress.
She wasn't real active at the tree, but she knew that it was fake too. She knew it was there. She just looked at it and smelled it and like, oh, okay, cool, I did my job now. Where's the real thing? I feel she's really ready. Go hang out with Cash and go chase coons around.
Tonight, Casey will get down to business. He'll take Cash and Callie to the forest to hunt raccoons. At Ennis, Scott Clark brought his father's bobcat pelts that he caught in the mountains. This season, the Madison Valley authorities have set the bobcat quota to 150 to control the population. Scott has trapped 3.
I like to show him what I got. My dad's done it a lot longer than I am. He's probably one of the best trappers that I know. He's older and wiser, so I like to let him look at my cats, and he's usually pretty spot on. He knows pretty much what they're gonna be worth.
Looks like.
What do you think?
I'm hearing the market's pretty good on cats this year. Cats and coyotes seem to be doing good.
The price the trapper can expect when selling his furs depends mainly on the species. Depending on the year, the market favors some animals over others.
Base of the tail, tip of the nose.
Some furs command top dollar, depending on the size, color, and uniformity. One bobcat pelt can be worth twice as much as another.
What's the bottom line?
$800.
$800? Perfect. Take a look at this female.
Wow. Got some nice spots in the upper chest.
Not a bad looking female, is it?
And it's all about the belly on these cats.
This one's better than that one.
This is a good cat. Very defined spots.
How much for this one?
Let's see what we got here. 37 inches. $800, I think. Maybe $850 on this one. Maybe a little bit better quality than this one.
All right, now the big
Howdy. Okay, you see the difference in the chest? Very little difference.
This one and that one I caught early in the season, a couple days in, on the same day, same morning.
In the same area.
In the same area. They're about a quarter mile apart.
$40 inches.
How much?
$1,700.
$1,700?
Beautiful cat. Beautiful cat. Look at that.
Scott and Jerry usually send their furs to Canada, where they're auctioned on the international market. But this year, Scott heard of a businessman who's looking to buy furs for his collection. He lives north of Bozeman, home to some of Montana's finest residences.
I talked to my dad about it a little bit, and we decided, he's like, why don't you just try it this year? Go see what it'll give you for him.
And it's the area that we take these cats from is the best area in the country.
Well, so we didn't hurt the population too bad.
No, we're out of here.
For the young trapper, it's a first. He'll try to get the best possible price for his furs from a buyer who's an experienced negotiator. Near Two Dot in the center of the state, Rick Matzik arrives at the McFarland White Family Ranch. Here, on several thousand acres at the foot of the mountains, the family raises 1,500 cows, famous in this region for their quality. Rick's friend Harrison called him to help solve the elk problem.
I'm the fourth generation on this ranch. It started in the early 1900s by my great-grandfather and his brother. Myself, my sister, my dad, my mom out here right now. Dad, he's still the main boss. My sister, she mainly takes care of the marketing of the cattle and does a lot of the day-to-day book work, as well as running her own custom meat business.
You ready to go home?
My mom, she just kind of makes sure all of us keep going, you know. I'm not sure if I have a job title. I kind of just bounce around to whatever needs done.
In recent years, the elk population on the ranch has boomed. The ravenous grazers reduce the amount of grass available for livestock.
I think we're getting a lot of elk from the west, and that could be due to urban encroachment from places like Bozeman or predator pressure. You know, there's a lot more wolves over to the west, so the elk are maybe moving out of those areas. We've got about 4,200 elk in this herd. There's really only enough feed for about 1,500. So we're 2,500 over what can be sustainable here. In the wintertime, like when things do get tough, you know, we get a lot of snow and it's cold, elk just mob haystacks and destroy tons and tons, literally, of hay that you've stockpiled for feeding the cattle. You live out here amongst the wildlife, yeah, you've got to be neighbors with them, but at the same time, you know, if we can't make a living and make this sustainable, we're gonna be gone, you know?
Rick and Harrison have a special permit from the Montana authorities to hunt 2 females to start reducing the size of the herd.
Well, hey there, Rick.
How you doing, Harrison?
Excellent. How are you?
Good.
Made the trip okay, huh?
Yeah?
You get blown away?
No, not bad. You know, I can't help but notice you're not any better looking than the last time I saw you.
I don't get better with age like you.
Well, that's just like a fine wine.
It's true.
So did you get a nice spot picked out for me
do.
to camp?
You ready?
I think so.
All right, just follow me.
All righty.
Elk hunting is unpredictable. It's impossible for Rick to know where he'll find the herd and when he'll manage to get close enough to take a shot. But the old hunter is patient and prepared.
Voila.
He's ready to wait it out.
Close enough.
Well, glad you could make it up here.
Well, I'm glad to be here.
So should we go do a little spotting and see what we can see for the morning?
Well, it'd be kind of nice if we could get something lined out to accomplish the mission.
All right.
It's good to be here, Harrison. Good
Good
see
to have you. Good to have you.
Rick and Harrison meet Gary, a former ranch hand who knows the area like the back of his hand. But the conditions are terrible. Gusts of wind make tracking more difficult than expected.
Are you from Bozeman, Rick?
Absarokee.
Absarokee, oh yeah. Probably no J.O. Miller, huh?
No J.O. This a layout of your ranch here, Harrison?
Yeah, and we're about right here right now, right on the edge of the Forest Service. And we're looking down kind of into this area.
Okay. And you said all the pink is your ranch?
Yeah.
Okay, now these sections here, are those yours too, or?
These ones are, yeah.
Okay.
Everything that's not colored is Forest Service.
And this is that area where you saw those 3,000 head last year?
Right, yep, right in here.
Right. Well, I think the secret to the whole thing, you know, with this wind blowing 40 miles an hour there's not an elk in the world going to be out in the open.
No, they don't like the wind any more than we do.
If we can find where they're at, and then we can figure out how to stalk in on them, and I'd rather have something spotted and work to it, and they don't even know I'm there when it ends. You think going south down there and do a little glassing down there?
Go do a little glassing. I mean, that's all you can do.
Yeah.
Get out of the wind.
Good plan.
That is a good plan.
Yeah.
All right, well, I guess we'll gather things up and go.
End of the day for Rick and Harrison. Tomorrow at dawn, they'll go tracking with Gary. And if they're lucky, maybe they'll find the herd on their first day.
Guys ready? Ready?
Near the small town of Absarokee, Casey Kircher and his two dogs, Cash and Callie, go for a raccoon hunt.
Callie needs a little bit more training, so it'll be a good night to do that. We've had pretty warm weather, been 60 degrees, so they should be out and moving. So we're gonna see what we can find.
The raccoon is a very intelligent animal that doesn't hesitate to approach homes. And their relationship with ranchers is not always pretty.
They're looking for food, scrounging around. They get in my trash and my neighbor's grain bin and everything, and they just become a nuisance. So we have to educate them a little bit. Coons are a pretty agile little animal. They'll jump over stuff and through and kind of weasel their way around debris and brush. They are an excellent tree climber. They'll climb a 60-foot tree in a matter of seconds. They're so agile and can fit through so many small little areas that the dogs have a tough time working their scent every once in a while. So it's good training for the dogs.
Good girl. Load up, Cash. Load up. Get up there. Come on, load up.
Casey goes to the property of one of his neighbors who told him he spotted raccoons earlier. But the tracking doesn't go as planned. The weather warmed and the snow melted.
Uh-oh.
I made the mistake of pulling my four-wheeler with me because I figured I may need it. I can only go backwards. I got my fucking trailer in the way. So that extra weight in that mud, I got stuck because it was so damn muddy and goopy and messy. So I had to unload the four-wheeler, unhook the trailer, jockey them around, try to get my truck back downhill, and then hook everything back up again and head out. At that point, I was kind of irritated. I was like, well, that's kind of stupid. Why am I doing this? Tearing everything up. Maybe I should just go home for the night.
But for Casey, giving up night hunting is not an option. His dogs would never forgive him.
They may have looked at me funny and said, well, thanks a lot, Dad. That was great fun. We went on a truck ride and didn't get to chase anything, so. Yeah, I wanted them to get some exercise and go on a chase, so I figured I better keep going and try to find a new spot.
No time to lose for Casey. His dogs are ready for action. And for them, the adventure is just beginning. Earlier, Scott Clark went to Bridger Canyon to sell his finest pelts of the season. In recent years, wealthy businessmen from all over the United States have built many high-end homes in the area.
Wow. This place is amazing. Gee whiz. Hopefully this guy buys my bobcats.
When I got over there, I was hoping that I'd get $3,000 for this bag of furs. I was skeptical. I didn't think he was gonna give me that, but that's what I was gonna hope for.
Hey,
Chris?
Scott.
Yep, good to meet you. Thank you, sir.
All right. So you got everything with you?
Yep, I brought the furs.
All right. I'd kind of like to see everything, but I'm really interested in the bobcats if you got them.
Yeah, let's lay it out here, see what we got. There's a coyote. Mr. Fox. One bobcat.
Now, how do you tell the males from the females?
I just know which ones they are. The big one is the male, so I kind of got to lay them side by side here. This one's the male. He's longer
Yeah.
than these two. This was about a 26-pound tom. These were about 20, 22 pounds apiece. This is a pretty good sized tom. I've caught a couple bigger, but this is one of the better ones that I've caught.
Well, what do you want for what?
I don't know. I'd like to get 700-800 a piece for these, 2 females each. And then this big male, this is a good male here. This is one of the better males I've caught for a few years. I'm gonna need around $1,700 for this guy.
If we put the 2 females together, would you be willing to take $1,200 for the 2 females?
No, I don't think I can do 1,200. I think I could probably do 1,400.
Well, I'll think about that. What about all 3 of them?
All 3 of them? So we got 1,400 for these 2. I'm gonna need about $2,500 for all 3 of them. I got a lot of time and effort trapping these.
I'd like to pay a little less than that, but how about 22?
No, I can't do 22.
I knew what I want. I got a lot of effort in it. I got a lot of time, money, gas to catch these furs. I'm not gonna give them to this guy. 2,500 is bare minimum. So I said, hey, you're gonna have to give me more.
How much you say for all 3?
2,500. This is about as low as I can go.
I can live with that.
All right, good,
we're on.
deal. Appreciate it.
Okay.
These 3 are yours. I'll leave them for you. I'll bag up those 3 and take them down the road. Me and my dad had discussed this before I got in here to sell this guy, and we figured if, with all of them combined, if I got at least $2,200, $2,300, that'd be a good profit. I think the sale went pretty good today. I would have liked to got a little more money, but I know that he didn't really want to pay that much for it, so I was trying to meet him in the middle and still not walk away without selling them. Because if I have to send him to the auction, it's risk.
The trap season ends for Scott Clark. He drove a hard bargain with Chris, an experienced negotiator. He can return to Ennis with the feeling of a job well done. Near the small town of Absarokee, after escaping the mud, Casey tries to reach another popular raccoon spot.
Wait.
A small river whose banks are lined with trees and brush.
Raccoons typically, they're close to water and they live in trees and cottonwoods and, you know, old sheds and stuff, so. And that creek's got all those aspects and plentiful food. I know when to release dogs by the way that they're acting. If they'll start just pulling me real hard and barking and acting up, then I know that there's something close and I'll let the dogs loose. And they just bolted. They were out of there. They knew something was around and they wanted to find it, and we were close to it. Cash, he's probably found a coon or smells a coon somewhere. He can smell a good mile away, at least, if the wind's blowing in the right direction and everything's right, so. But Callie, I'm a little worried about because she's got a bad habit chasing deer, and I just saw a bunch of deer pop up before I let them loose, but I know Cash will find one. It's kind of fun just listening to the dogs at night and wondering what they're doing. I was trying to get Callie to follow Cash, and hopefully she would follow his lead. It kind of sounds like they're together right now, but we'll give them some time and see what they do.
Casey follows the dogs wearing their GPS collars.
Cash tells me he found something.
But Cash and Callie seem to have separated.
Callie is over here, Cash is over here. That's not a good sign. Callie! Come on, Callie, girl!
Good girl. Go help Cash. Come on.
I'm just kind of sitting here listening to Cash. He's trying to work out. He's got something. He's just trying to work it out. Oh, she's right there with Cash. Good. Good. This time of year, I don't like my dogs being this close to the river. Well, ice. Of course, water's starting to get higher. But unfortunately, that's where the coons hang out too, is along the river.
The dogs stopped. As Casey approaches their position, he's in for an unpleasant surprise.
They're both on the other side of the river. They've been sticking around that little spot for a few minutes now, so. I bet you they got a coon over there. Unfortunately, the only way to get to him is across the river. It's cold.
Get him, Cash. Get him.
Casey tries to spot the animal his dogs are after.
Good boy. Good boy.
But for the moment, he can't see anything in the branches.
When you're hunting at night, typically you're looking for eyeballs shining in the tree because they'll reflect. That's why I try so hard to find the eyes instead of the body, because you can't see the body a whole lot of time.
Good boy.
But Casey has no time to lose. On the other side of the river, the dog situation is troubling.
Cash was just going nuts. He was working his way around the tree, just clawing at it, biting at limbs. So I knew that there was something in there. I just couldn't see it yet. The way I looked at it, I didn't have any other option. Cross the river and get to my dogs, or cross the river and get to my dogs. Crossing the river is always dangerous. It's cold, it's icy, rocks are really slippery. The stream moves so quick and you don't want to slip and submerge yourself totally, because then you're going to be really cold.
Hey! Oh, no! Hey!
Carried away by the excitement of tracking the animal, Cash tries to climb the tree to reach him.
Stay there. Don't go any higher. Cash! Do you mind shining that light up there?
For Casey, the safety of his dogs comes first.
Stay there. Goddamn shit. Hold on. Good boy. Good boy. How the fuck did I come down?
Having managed to bring down Cash, Casey checks to see if a raccoon is indeed hiding up there.
Cal, stay back.
It took me a little while to find the coon, searching around for it. But I finally saw it. It was in the crotch of the tree, and it had its back to us, so I couldn't see any eyeballs shining in my flashlight. So, yeah, at that point, I got pretty excited, and I was like, all right, they do have something in the tree.
Good boy. Yeah, good boy.
I had to go around the other side of the tree so I could see the eyeballs of the coon. He was pretty smart. He didn't want to show me his eyes.
Come here. Good boy.
A successful mission for Cash and Callie. Casey can feel satisfied. Callie not only kept pace with Cash during the tracking, but the young dog stayed at the foot of the tree until her master arrived.
Come on, Cal.
As for the raccoon, it's likely to clear the sector. Casey and his neighbors probably won't see him again anytime soon.
Good dogs. Good dogs.
Next to the small village of Two Dot, dawn breaks on the McFarland White Ranch. Rick, Harrison, and Gary head to the south end of the property. They need to locate the elk herd that Gary spotted a few days earlier. The three hunters reach a first summit, which offers them a good view of the land below.
What do you think, Gary? I don't see a thing. Not even a bird. There was at least 200 here the other day in this pocket, just working this way.
It's a perfect hole for them.
Yeah, it is. They spend a lot
Out of the
time
wind
here.
and pretty good grass. They must just be holed up.
They're holed up because of the wind, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
And it's been so mild this winter. I mean, it's 40 degrees
Yeah.
this morning.
It
you
ain't
know?
winter. Yeah.
And it's not winter, no.
With the weather that warm, the elk are going to be timbered up. They aren't going to be down on the bottom edges of the mountains there. Now, and this is all part of your pasture ground for your cows?
Yeah. Yeah, it goes where we're standing out past the big power lines.
Okay.
Oh, a little ways, kind of up that broken ridge, and then comes back around to the west.
So, and how many head of cows you say you're running up here?
Oh, this pasture holds about 350 or so.
Right. Well, I imagine you take 100 head of elk, that's like cutting groceries out of 30-year herd there.
That it is.
We can go back down to the bottom,
Okay.
and we'll walk back up on the ridge because we can see more of that country.
Right.
But on the ground, the conditions deteriorate. Rick, Harrison, and Gary face one of a hunter's worst enemies, the wind. It just won't quit.
It can just be brutal for weeks. Just 30 to 70 mile an hour winds.
When the wind blows, the animals smell the hunters from far away, and stalking becomes even more difficult.
It's hard to hear, it's hard to see, you know, your eyes are watering all the time. When it's windy like that, it's just a crapshoot, really. We tried a different spot, just kept trying, you know, you gotta be out there a lot in the hopes that you do see something moving around. Basically, luck when it's like that is your only strategy.
But today, luck turns its back on the three hunters.
We didn't see a single elk. I know that you can be in a situation where you would swear there hadn't been an elk there for 2 months, and the weather can change overnight, and within 24 hours, you're covered up with elk.
Rick, Harrison, and Gary have to face the facts. Today's not the day for fighting elk. Fortunately, snow and cold are predicted for the next several days. That will force the animals out of the forest to feed. The hunter's fortune may be about to change.